Hi, welcome back to the Impact Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Beck, and we have a great episode in store for you today. We're going to have in the studio one of my personal sales influencers, and I'm excited about the conversation, nervous and excited about the conversation, but at the same time, just know that there's going to be such amazing content, and I know exactly, the impact that it's going to have on people. So today, before we jump into that, I just want to spend a couple of minutes talking about the importance of the right perspective and frame of mind in how you interact with people, and more importantly, how you position things in a way for them to want to help you with what you're doing. And we're going to talk a little bit about referrals and some other things. And too many times people lead into a sales interaction thinking selfishly or only about what they're trying to do or accomplish. And I do think that there's such tremendous value in phrasing things the right way and making it more about the other people that you work with. But at the same time, we all have responsibilities, realities that we need to deal with, right? Life. And sometimes it's hard to juggle that balance between I need to make something happen, it needs to happen now, versus I need to be patient and allow things to unfold at the right time when it's supposed to happen. And I think it's a battle that all of us face. And I think today's guest is not only going to provide some amazing content about how you need to look at things and the impact that things can have, but really help you position the interactions the right way, going into it with the right frame of mind. And you're going to hear from himself about the importance of how to do that and why it's so impactful. But I'm going to tell you, without question, as you look at what goes on in your business, you want to focus on across the board, setting yourself up, as we talk about many, many times, as that trusted advisor, so much so that your clients and prospects want to see you succeed. They want to see you advance and want to help you along the way. And our guest today is going to talk a little bit about that. It's going to talk a lot about other impactful things related to your business and how you need to look at it. Don't go anywhere. Our next guest coming up is a Hall of Fame keynote speaker on referrals, relationship building, and genuine influence. He's one of my personal key influencers in sales. I still carry with me one of his earlier books. It's had a tremendous impact on my success over the years. I'm so excited to have him in the studio. Don't go anywhere. Coming up to the Impact Sales Podcast, Bob Burg will be back in a bit. Hi, this is Joe Beck with the Sales Activist. Do you have an amazing product, service, or offering and you just can't fill your calendar enough with qualified prospects? Do you look at your calendar each week and it looks like a desert wasteland with no appointments scheduled or very few, and even the ones that you have just aren't your ideal client or customer? When you do get a hold of somebody, are you struggling to close that business and move them forward in working with you with your product or offering? Well, if you're struggling with either one of these things, I'd like to help. For well over 30 years, I've helped sales professionals and entrepreneurs create dynamic sales success through prospecting, sales interactions, and most importantly, helping them close higher ticket sales to move their respective businesses forward. And I'd like to help you. You can schedule a complimentary impact sales strategy session where we'll talk about how to find the ideal prospects for you for little to no ad spend, as well as how to close them and convert them into new raving fan clients. You can connect with me on my digital business card by texting the word sales to the number 321-421-5213. That's sales to 321-421-5213. And you can schedule your strategy session right there off that card. This is Joe Beck with the Sales Activist. You don't have to settle for average in your sales. And we're back at the Impact Sales Podcast. And with me in the studio is a very special guest. He's a Hall of Fame keynote speaker on referrals, relationship building, and genuine influence. He's the co-author of the international bestseller, The Go-Giver, and a much sought after speaker at sales and leadership conferences. And he's committed to inspiring the entrepreneurial spirit in us all. He shows that companies, both large and small, that conduct their business the Go-Giver way are not only of much greater value to their customers, they are also significantly more functional and profitable as well. Please welcome to the Impact Sales Podcast, Bob Burg. Hi, Bob. How are you?
I'm great, Joe. It's great to be with you.
Oh, it's great to have you, Bob. I was really excited about this episode. You've been certainly one of the thought leaders that I've followed for many years of my career. And I was excited about the opportunity to talk with you. So I like to start off these podcasts by asking a simple question of all of our guests. How did you first get started in sales?
So I began as a broadcaster, first in radio and then television. I did radio sports and then television news at a very, very small ABC affiliate station out in the Midwestern United States. I wasn't particularly good at it, and it wasn't really too long before I realized that wasn't going to be my career. So I like to say I graduated into sales. The challenge I had was that I had had no formal sales experience whatsoever, and the company where I was working didn't provide me with any, and so I was really on my own, and I floundered very much for the first few months until I was in a bookstore and came across a couple of books on selling, which doesn't seem like a big deal now, but back then, 40 years ago, that's just not something you really knew about, that there were actually books on selling. And as soon as I saw them, and they were written by Zig Ziglar and Tom Hopkins, two of the real sales luminaries, as you know, and just seeing the titles, just seeing that they were books on how to be a professional salesperson gave me so much encouragement, because I, at that point, realized I didn't have to just make it up as I went along. There was actually a methodology. So I began really studying their materials, and I mean, really studying it. And it really wasn't too long at all before my sales began to go through the roof. And I think the reason was because now there was a system to work from. And that, really made all the difference for me.
That is so true. And, one of the things that I've noticed with a lot of the thought leaders and the top performers that we talk to on the show is that it doesn't matter what the company provides you, the people that make a commitment to personal development and improving their craft always are the ones that kind of step out and do more. And I know it's been a while since that first sales job, and you pretty much made a career and a commitment towards developing and improving people along the way. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're working on today?
Yeah, well, I've been writing for years and speaking at conferences. Now, my business partner and I, Kathy Tajano, we have an online business networking community called the Go Giver Community, and that's really what we're both devoting our lives and careers to. So it's, if you think about Facebook only for go givers, and it's about business, not politics or different thing. It's about being able to really build a great business, accelerate your business for yourself with a focus on providing value to others, understanding that as you do that, you're also creating the benevolent context for you to receive as well.
Absolutely. And if you've not yet picked up the Go Giver and the Go Giver series, I highly recommend you check it out from Bob it's really. Yeah, it's something that I think is so important in today's business world. I mean, we live in a crazy, hectic, fast-paced world, and if you don't stop and take time to think about having a bigger influence and providing more for people, in many ways, you're going to be left behind. I think the people that are out there that are doing it, as you mentioned, the Go Giver way, are people that are having a greater impact on the people that are around them. No coincidence. I always chuckle when I think of the main character in the story. His name is Joe, which I chuckle when I think of it. But in many ways, the journey that he goes on is things that I've been through in my career, and that's why it resonated so well with me. Now, Bob, I know you talk to a lot of people, and you not only speak at so many amazing events. What are some of the things that people are sharing with you about what they're seeing in the business marketplace? Because I like to ask the elite, the thought leaders, what they're hearing, what people are talking about when they meet them at these events. What are you hearing people talk about as it relates to sales and business in general?
Well, I mean, I think sales has really moved, and I think we all know this, that it's moved from being, knowledge and information based into, solution based. But it's got to be not just our solutions to their specific problems. It's it's got to be a way of understanding their business so well, that you actually understand their business better than they do as it relates to your products and services. And that's why you're able to not just discover what they need, what they want, what they desire. That's very, very important. But it now goes beyond that. It's also seeing those areas where they don't know there's an issue, that you can help them to fortify it. And it might be through your product, or it might not be. It might be more indirect, or there's a place where they have a hidden strength or an advantage they don't even see, and because you know the situation and so forth, you're able to add insights that's going to help them to be able to leverage that. So I think it's gone from that, the knowledge and information phase to the features and benefits phase to now, it's a total solution orientation.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think you're right. I think especially considering the advent of technology and people are able to access so much information now in the palm of their hands. The basic information's out there, the solution aspects, and I think really what I heard you say was, filling in gaps that maybe people don't even realize they have through your products, your services. Yeah, and that's an important it's an important skill set nowadays. Whether we like to admit it or not, both as individuals and as businesses, we all have blind spots. And I know the people that I like to work with are the people that help me recognize my blind spots and work on them to make them better. So one of the questions that I think is relevant to what people are experiencing in today's world as well. We talk a lot about this concept of the phrase trusted advisor, somebody who is a trusted advisor or resource to their clients. How do you define trusted advisor in your world? Because I think it's important that people hear from different people how they view it.
Well, I think that would be that person who they see you as knowing so much about their situation, okay, in terms of your competence, but also seeing that you have their well-being in mind and that you can be counted on to do the right thing, and that's character. Stephen M.R. Covey talks about that in his book, The Speed of Trust, and now he has Trust and Inspire, his newest book. So much is really about those two elements, competence and character. I think also the trusted advisor is that person who is not selling on low price; they're selling on high value. And it kind of brings up the question, well, what do you mean by value? Because value is now one of those terms that has become so overused that I think, often people say it without really even attaching a meaning to it. And so what happens is you've got thousands of different people, all with their own unconscious definition of what value means. And while it can, of course, mean different things to different people, we're all individuals. I think value is best defined in relation to price. Many people think price and value are the same thing. Absolutely not. Price is a dollar figure, it's a dollar amount, it's finite, it simply is what it is. Value, on the other hand, is the relative worth or desirability of a thing, of something, to the end user or beholder. In other words, what is it about this thing, this product, service, concept, idea, what have you, that brings so much worth or value to another human being that they will willingly exchange their money, time, energy, opportunity costs, what have you, for this thing, for this value that you have. Okay. And absolutely feel great about it while you make a healthy profit. And this is so important because if you're selling, if to you see low price as your unique selling proposition, well, there's nothing unique about it. It's not selling and it's hardly a proposition. Trying to make low price the key is really, it's just not a productive way to do business. It's not fulfilling, it's not profitable, and it's really not sustainable. When you sell on price, on low price, you're seen as a commodity. When you sell on high value, you're seen as a resource, a trusted resource. And that's where you want to get to.
Absolutely. It's funny you say that. One of the things that I talk a lot about with prospects, clients, and people that I associate with is sometimes people get caught up in that description of value and they miss the idea of what we call impact, which is asking deeper, more meaningful questions of your prospects and your clients to understand what the value brings them, and just taking it to that next level. And that's where that trusted advisor status is so important. Things, identifying in an individual business, well, what would it mean to you if you had this or if you had that? And then letting them actually describe that. I think the other thing that I think is amazing to me is so many sales professionals, whether they're selling for a company or for themselves, they don't stop long enough to really hear what their clients are saying about why something is important. They want to rush to a decision or rush to solving a problem. It's great. There's a time and a place for it. But many times they skip over some of the important relationship building questions that happen even later on, like digging deeper into it. Um, a previous guest had mentioned to us, Bob, and I'd love to get your opinion on this, that a fair percentage of sales professionals that interact with a client are not memorable to that client. Basically saying that maybe only about 20 to 25% of them really are memorable. And I think that is right in line with that trusted advisor status. A select few really attain it and do it the right way. What do you see, or what's your opinion on that in the market?
Oh, I think that's probably very true. Most salespeople are very forgettable. They try their best and they believe in their product or their service, the company they work for. But what happens is I think a lot of them come in making it about them. It's about how great their product is, how wonderful the company is they work for that's been around for 135 years, and what they've done in all the and this holds no real value to no value to the prospective customer or client. And because of that, they're very forgettable. Now when you come in and you put your product, service, and company aside and focus totally on the other person, uh, now you have a chance to be memorable because you're hitting them where they live, what they care about, right? They care about themselves, their business, their challenges, what's a solution that's going to help them. And when you do that, now you're memorable. And far, few salespeople actually do that even to this day.
Yeah, and it's ironic, and I don't know if it's just this cycle of things as the world has changed, but those early sales professionals really did it all on relationship. It was relationship selling and building value, and it was very structured. And it seems with technology and the pace of which the world operates today, that somewhere along the way that's been shortchanged for a lot of people. And the elite continue to do it that way, but a lot of people take shortcuts and they miss those opportunities to establish and enhance the relationships. Um, so much of the relationship aspects of businesses really come from who you associate with and how you choose to do business. And that's why I think communities like the Go Giver community are so important out there. Tell us more about the Go Giver community. We'd love to learn more about it as it relates to the impact it's having in the world.
Yeah, well, it's really a group of people who most of them have read The Go Giver at one point. And so uh we've been able to create relationships, whether it's on various social media platforms, or we've met at events where I've spoken, or they've come to some of our events that Kathy and I put on, and they just wanted deeper connection, but also a more consistent connection. So Kathy and I put together this community, which again is somewhat like a social media setup, platform setup, where people have their profiles and so people can locate them there, know that they do. However, what it is not is a place where people go to talk about their products and services, because they know that they're part of a community where everyone is naturally going to be more interested in them because that's the type of community it is. Okay. So, remember one of the key points and you and I were talking about, you read Endless Referrals when it first came out. And John David Mann and I included this in the Go Giver, that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust. Well, everything about the Go Giver community is about people forming these know, like, and trust relationships with one another. So you've got people searching searching other profiles and searching people, not to see what can I get from this person, but what value can I give to this person. And of course, as we do that, we develop those know, like, and trust relationships. So there's lots of masterminding that goes on there. There's lots of uh, advice giving and advice receiving. There's lots of just great relationships being established and business taking place and referrals being given. And again, it's an online platform, so people can do it on their own time and when they get the chance. Plus, Kathy and I put together special events, such as we have twice a month Go Giver networking, which is a more formalized way of being able to. So it's opposite from what we see regular networking, where people go in there with their elevator speech. This is asking the other person how you can help them. And so it just sets up a whole really great, what we call benevolent context for people's success.
That sounds amazing. I'll tell you what, the one thing that I've noticed certainly in a lot of different communities is a lot of those types of communities focus on the transactional elements of business and not the relationship building elements. And that's why I love hearing about communities and networks like that, because I think it's so important for people to get back to building significant and real relationships. They go beyond an individual transaction. They enhance not only yourself and the person that you are, but the business that you operate. And it has a much more positive impact on the world around us. And I think in a lot of ways we've lost that, with the transactional nature of the world we live in. Things are point and click, you know self-activation pages, and we've lost some of that to a degree. So it's great to hear people committing to that and being a part of that. It's so powerful. Now, Bob, one of the things that I always like to ask people, especially people that have a lot of experience, that have interacted with quite a few people, if you were starting a business today, if you were a brand new entrepreneur, w- tell me the two things that you would focus on most in the development of your business.
Well, the first thing I would do is learn the business and know how and why it works. You've got to have a workable model, right, in order to have a business in the first place, or everything else you do is going to be for naught, right? So that's the first part. But the second part is really just what you've been talking about. Start building the relationships. Start building the relationships where people feel good about you. They know you. They like you. They trust you. They want to be in relationship with you. They want to do business with you if they need what you have to offer. But regardless, they want to tell the world about you. They want to be your personal walking ambassador. So when you have both a business model that's proven to work, and you have the relationships, you never then have to worry about, who am I going to talk to next now that my names list is run out, because you've always got more and more and more people to talk to.
It's so true. I think one of the most important lessons that any professional, whether they're working for themselves or for a company, is to understand the importance of building those relationships and establishing, your own referral relationships out there. Because as you've said, it can impact everything. It can change things dramatically. It's one of those aha moments that sales professionals at some point in their development experience. Sometimes it happens early, sometimes later. You know, yeah, as it relates to that, I mean, you've had such a great impact on people with a lot of the writing that you've done, the speaking that you've done. If you were to throw out a referral tip, one thing, the golden rule of referrals, what would it be?
Well, the golden rule of referrals is about people knowing, liking, and trusting you, but then also having a system, a referral based system, to be able to to proactively attain those referrals, not just wait until people decide to refer you. You can do that, but it's not I don't think it's the best way to do it, because there are many people who they might love you, but it's just not in their makeup to necessarily refer people without being prompted to do so. So we need to know how to ask people for referrals in such a way that, first, they feel very comfortable with the process. Second, that we ask them in a way that helps them to actually come up with the names of people, of good quality people, as opposed to just saying, who do you know? Do you know anybody who? And then, 250, 300 people who they know run past their mind, but it's a collage. They can't identify anyone. And that's when they say, I can't think of anybody right now, but when I do, I'll let you know. And they don't let you know because out of sight, out of mind. But I would say this, that when it really comes right down to it, there was a piece of advice that a person gave me probably about 38 years ago. And I say that because I started in sales about 40 years ago. And I think I was into sales about 2 years when I heard it from the person. I was in the midst of a sales slump. And my focus was really on me and making the sale, not on my customers. And he said, Berg, if you want to make a lot of money in sales, he said, don't have making money as your target. Your target is serving others. Now, when you hit the target, he said, you'll get a reward, and that reward will come in the form of money. And you can do with that money whatever you choose. But never forget, he said, the money is simply the reward for hitting the target. It isn't the target itself. Your target is serving others. And, that's when it really hit me, Joe, that great salesmanship is never about the salesperson. Great salesmanship is never about the product or service itself, as important as those are. That's just not what it's about. Great salesmanship is about the value you are trying to provide another human being. In a sense, we could say that it's about another person's life being better just because you are part of it. And I think that when we approach sales from that foundational premise, then we're really 9 steps ahead of the game in a 10-step game.
Wow, that's so powerful, Bob. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Now, Bob, before we wrap up, is there anything that you like to share with our audience?
No, just wish everybody a wonderful rest of the year, and to keep on looking for how you can provide value to the lives of others. They can check out our Go Giver community at thegogivercommunity.com, and I welcome them to join us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bob. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the Impact Sales Podcast. And we like to wrap up each episode by saying, impact the world, sell better. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Hi, this is Joe Beck with The Sales Activist. Are you an entrepreneur or a sales professional who's struggling to create explosive sales success in your business? Does your calendar look like a desert wasteland with no appointments scheduled and, more importantly, no opportunities in your pipeline where you're struggling to meet and exceed your sales goals? Well, if you're having these problems, I'd like to help. For well over 30 years, I've helped thousands of entrepreneurs and sales professionals create sales success and blow out their sales quotas and numbers. You can learn exactly how you can do that by connecting with me for a complimentary strategy session by texting the word sales to the number 321 421 5213. That's sales to 321 421 5213. We'll jump on a call. We'll talk about exactly how we can fill that calendar and line up your ideal prospects for little to no cost. And more importantly, show you how to close them and make them new clients. This is Joe Beck with The Sales Activist. You don't have to settle for average with your sales results. Connect with me, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care. Welcome back to the Impact Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Beck, and wow, what a great segment with Bob Burg. Bob is one of my personal sales influencers. He's impacted my career in more ways than I can describe through some of his writings. Some of my first earliest books on my business bookshelf came from Bob, and it's had a tremendous impact on my career. And today was no different. He was sharing some amazing information that everybody needs to hear about the importance of being a go-giver, and more importantly, taking a servant mentality to the people that you're working with. standing out by making it all about them and not about you, and truly impacting the world around you. Such powerful stuff. And I don't know who needs to hear this, because I know there are people out there who are stressing and pressing, trying to move their business forward, struggling to generate sales. And, they are thinking mostly about themselves and their needs, and not enough about the needs of the prospects and clients that they serve. And I'm telling you, as hard as it is, you need to turn that around. Make your goals about serving others, and you'll find that you'll reach your personal objectives. You'll reach your personal sales goals, your personal financial goals. And Bob even talked about it in this segment. If you realign yourself that way, you're going to find that you're going to hit those objectives for yourself, and it's going to make all the difference in the world. So if you're struggling with sales out there, make sure that you follow the thought leaders, the people that are out there that are achieving what you want to achieve, reaching the goals you want to reach. Follow the people that are getting it done. And we like to have those people here at the Impact Sales Podcast. We're so happy that you continue to follow us and subscribe to our podcast. Share it with friends, other sales producers, people that are out there, entrepreneurs who are struggling with sales. We want to share this content with the world. Make sure that you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes. There's some amazing content headed your way. You don't want to miss it. This is Joe Beck, the host of the Impact Sales Podcast. And like we say on our show, sell better, impact the world. We'll talk to you all soon.